I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I've been telling you guys a bit about a fantastic website called storeys.com. STOREYS.com. I'm going to plug it a few more times here this spring. Fantastic website. If you guys want to see what's really going on in both the Toronto and Vancouver market as far as development goes, all kinds of, zoning changes, social housing things that they want to put in with the cities, lawsuits galore, insolvencies, developers going belly up, all kinds of good stuff that you generally do not see for the most part in the mainstream media. They cover it a little bit here and there. But have a look at it. I've been pulling, I go on there once a week, and I tell you, they update it probably 15 times a day with various stories. I'm always learning some stuff in there that I had no idea about. So I'm going to share some of these with you guys. I have already in the past, but check it out. It'll give you guys a real inside story on what's happening. But lately, for the last week in stories, it has been nothing but fallout from the tariff war we're getting into the United States. And I've been telling you guys about this for a while, how we do not want to get into a tariff war tit for tat with the United States, because we're not going to win. They are tenfold the size of our economy, and but I'll get into that in a minute here. But the dominoes are starting to fall now, guys, especially right now with developers who are warning Vancouverites here and in Toronto that this is a war we're not going to win here, the direction we're going, and it's going to lead to much, it's going to lead to nothing getting built, which there already is limited getting built right now. They're all on the sidelines, and it's going to drastically increase the cost of construction. And we're already extremely expensive on a price per square foot basis here. So I'll just read off quickly some of the ones that I just pulled off the website last night. So headline here, Vancouver developer decries Canada's counter tariffs on construction materials. And this was from the CEO of the Westgroup in Vancouver here. He's saying by imposing retaliatory tariffs on imports from the US, Canada may be cutting off its nose in spite of its face. Doing this will make construction much more costlier, exasperate Canada's housing shortage, and undermine the country's own housing supply goals, said Brad Jones, CEO of Westgroup Properties. Yet 2 days ago, housing development expected to stop if tariff threat turns into a trade war. This one's from the president CEO of the Intercorp. So went on to say that the last 6 months, investment has been really cautious. Ever since the first counter announcement of tariffs, there has been a complete pause on any, exploring any further development opportunities. There's going to be a pause until this economy settles, says Evan Aragato, president of British Columbia operations for Vancouver-based Intercorp Homes, which also operates in Seattle, Washington, Newport Beach, California, and Austin, Texas. It remains to be seen how long Canada's trade war with the United States will last and to what extent the impacts will be. But one effect can already be clearly seen. Investment has come to a complete standstill, at least in the housing and development sector. Further down the page on stories. Infrastructure costs are driving up housing costs in BC. Went on here to say that the NDP government, rather than solving issues as far as infrastructure, both levels of government have made housing development a scapegoat, piling costs onto new projects and forcing renters and homeowners to bear the financial burden of government mismanagement. Instead of funding vital infrastructure through responsible budgeting, the province and the city have found a convenient target: developers. So this is just in the last week on stories here. This is just the first dominoes that are going to be falling here, guys. You watch. I've been warning you guys about this for a long time, about this trade war, tit for tat with the United States, throwing more gas on the fire. We should be working with the United States on trying to resolve this, come to a mutual agreement here of some sort. Because all it's going to do is this Intercorp and Westgroup, it's already completely drowned to a standstill, an already slow development sector. Here the province, the NDP, federally, they need more homes built to try and curb or try and cool affordability. But at the same time, as I've told you guys, they throw every roadblock in front in the form of taxes, restrictions, red tape. Every one bedroom built in Vancouver, it's something close to $200,000 goes to various levels of government. For every two bedroom, it's somewhere over $350,000 goes straight to the government. That's a good portion of the cost to build now. But the government doesn't like to talk about that too much. So, development has already been slow for the last couple of years with the interest rates going up and the economy being extremely poor. Now with the trade war in place, everything is ground to a standstill, and it will be until this gets resolved. So it's really crazy what's out there. Now, I know you guys, I did that blog a couple Saturdays ago, talking about should Canada become the 51st state. Now, of course it should. And if you guys would have, a lot of people didn't, if you would have seen my pinned comment in bold letters at the top, I said that Canada will never become the 51st state. I don't want it to. Even Trump doesn't believe that. But what I was saying is that we are in some serious trouble in this country. And of course, the politicians will spin this towards the United States when it's really they're the ones that got us in this mess with our deficits and our overspending and overtaxed. We are just not a competitive country. What I would just finally say on that, there was a lot of people, I think, in my comment section that are kind of talking about Canada circa 2005, 2008. With protectionism and tariffs and, keeping our dairy industry, we've got tariffs at 250% on milk and cheese. That's why when you go down to the States, everyone's got 10 gallons of milk in their cart because they can get it for half the price even with the exchange rate. But we are living now in 2025. In 2025, money, capital, jobs can flow anywhere it wants. It's going to flow to where it thinks it's going to get the best return now. And that's what's going to happen here. We've got to be working with the United States as some sort of an economic union, more free trade, less restrictions. We're not going to become the 51st state. We'll still retain our sovereignty here. But we have become incredibly uncompetitive in this country. And I don't think most Canadians, if you're getting your news from the Canadian media sources, like CTV and CBC, you're not getting the real story here. Just go onto Google, have a look at our GDP compared to other G7 nations and how capital has been fleeing this country for the last 10 years. Jobs have been moving out. I just saw a story in today's Financial Post about a furniture company in Ontario that's been in business a long time, has about 300 employees, is shutting down, no warning, and moving to South Carolina, Asheville, South Carolina. They're going to take a couple of executive jobs with them, but 98% of those employees are out of work, and there's probably 10, 15, 20, $30 million in tax revenue out of the provincial coffers in Ontario. This is just one of the first dominoes. You're going to see more and more of these coming. I mentioned in my comment section here, guys, I don't think, again, the CBC won't report this to you guys, but the Washington, D.C., the U.S. government, announced about 6 weeks ago a new golden visa targeted towards Canadians like me. This golden visa is going to be rolled out later this summer, and it's going to be aimed towards high net worth Canadians with assets over $5 million, entrepreneurs, business people, skilled workers, doctors, tech workers, etc. It will allow you to get fast-tracked. It will give you immediate permanent residency status. It will allow you to work in the United States and then fast-track you to full U.S. citizenship. Look it up. Coming later this summer, they're going to be they want guys like me to move down to the United States. Now, I have no plans on doing that, not at my age. I do spend a lot of time in the U.S. and I've got family in the United States. I'm getting ready to head to Hawaii here in a couple of weeks. But this is what's going to happen, guys. We already have a brain drain going on now. That's what the United States plan is here. Unless we become more competitive tax-wise, and make business much more attractive to keep up here in Canada, people are slowly going to leave the country. And it's not just the United States that's competing for people like me and entrepreneurs and business owners and high net worth individuals. You've got all kinds of countries. I was just in Costa Rica over Christmas for $200,000, you can go buy a house down there. All you have to do is put $200,000 somewhere into the economy, either through real estate or start a small business, and you can get citizenship and, permanent residency status, you can work, etc. So we're in a global economy now. Canada's competing against a lot of other countries, especially the United States, and they are going to really up their game here over the next 12 to 24 months. They're going to start cherry picking people off from Canada, but we've got to become more competitive, and we're not right now. A lot of people need to just get out of their kind of cocoon here that they're in, their echo chamber, that orange man is bad, Canada good, it's us versus them. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump either. I have never said, even when he was in power, 5 years ago, that I was ever a fan of him. I'm a Republican. But I agree, his bargaining tactics are bully tactics, and I don't agree with them either. But we need to work with the United States on this. It's Howard Lutkin, who's their Commerce Secretary, who's the guy that we're probably going to be negotiating with anyway. See, Trump has a team. But we need to get up to the negotiating table, and we don't want to be throwing more fire on the flames with these counter tariffs, because they're just going to completely grind everything to a halt with our economy, and we're already in a recession, as I've told you guys. See, this is what politicians do. This is what they do. They will tell you anything they want to hear, make it sound good so they can stay in power. But they're also, what they're doing with this tariff threat is they've twirled it, especially a guy like David Eby, by taking the Jack Daniels off the shelf and let's boycott Tesla. Take your eye off the ball so that you can't see how inept we have been over the last 5 to 10 years on running this country in this province. They're the ones that people, Eby, Trudeau, who's now out, and hey, it's 1-0 for Donald Trump. I thank Donald Trump for, first step was getting Trudeau out, and he helped us a great deal for getting Trudeau exited. A lot of people, there was just an article by Conrad Black in the Globe and Mail that I read that was very good. He was basically saying that the reason Trump is so gruff and so heavy-handed on this, to begin with, and I agree he was he despised Justin Trudeau. Elon Musk, I think, posted a montage of about 8 or 9 minutes of the insults that Trudeau had given to Trump for the last 4 years while he was out of office, calling him every name in the book, never dreaming, of course, Justin, that that Trump would ever get elected again, and lo and behold, he gets elected. And that was priority number one now. Trump held a grudge. I'm going to crush Trudeau. And he did crush Trudeau. Trudeau is out now. So 1-0 for Trump, for the orange man. But these dominoes are going to continue to fall here, guys. This is just the beginning. Companies shutting down. Some will just shut down completely. Others will move. If they are already based in the United States, they will shut down operations in Canada. Our economy is going to slow. It's already slow. Our dollar will continue to drop. We're already all-time low on the Canadian peso. One last thing I'll leave you with. I talk about that Toby Lutke from Shopify. Probably one of the smartest CEOs we have. Incredible Canadian success story with Shopify. I saw in the Wall Street Journal 2 days ago, they are dual domiciled both. They're started in Toronto and in New York. I just saw the Wall Street Journal's reporting that they're filing paperwork to possibly leave Canada as far as their stock domicile on the TSX. That'll hurt. They'll take jobs with them as well. But again, we're not competitive up here, guys. We're taxed to death, both personally and corporate level. If we don't start to get more in line with the rest of the world, and especially the United States, we're going to be left in the dust here and we may never recover. I'm still optimistic we can, but come on, guys, we've got to wake up to this. We've got to be negotiating something here for the best thing for Canada. The final thing I'll just leave you with, some of the commenters, I have to laugh. I mean, they act like Canada is in some sort of boom time right now. And I don't understand it, because every time I see on the news every week, I see how Canadians are really struggling right now. Most are living paycheck to paycheck. I see these polls that if they were about 80% of Canadians, if they were hit with a $1,000 unexpected cost to fix their car or something, they couldn't come up with it. I see something like 40% of Canadians are using debt to stay afloat. Most Canadians do not have a TFSA, and most Canadians have little to nothing in their RSP for retirement. So I don't get it. I mean, we're not in very good, most Canadians are struggling right now. For the life of me, I don't understand why we would not be exploring some areas to make this country better, more competitive, stimulate business, stimulate the economy going, less taxes at the personal level and the corporate level. Let's start building more homes. But none of that is happening right now. I don't understand it. Why wouldn't we want to switch gears here and turn a page? And again, I put most of this blame on the Liberals and NDP. They have mismanaged this country terribly for the last 10 years. And if you don't believe me, go on to the Wall Street Journal, go on to Bloomberg, go Google some stats on where Canada has gone here the last 10 years, and you'll see our standard of living, up until about 10 or 12 years ago, our standard of living was very similar to that of the United States, but we have dropped off a cliff here the last 10 years, and it's really dropped off a cliff since COVID. Something is drastically wrong here. So all I'm saying is Canadians should be a little bit more open here. And I always laugh. For the life of me, I can't understand why someone would take the advice or the opinion of a guy like Doug Ford or David Eby over a guy like Toby Lutke, the CEO of Shopify, or some very high-level Canadian CEOs in the banking sector, in real estate here with the Westgroup, and with the other one that I mentioned here with Intercorp. These are smart people. If you're taking a politician's word over what these people are telling you, oh boy, I feel sorry for you. You're being played like a Stradivarius right now by these politicians. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Thanks for everyone that continues to buy my book on Amazon, Along for the Ride. It's a good first start for a lot of people on your thinking, your attitude, saving, investing your money for retirement, and then tuning out a lot of the noise. Because again, you guys know, I hate politics. I hate all politicians equally, no matter what party. But again, I always vote, and I vote for the party that I think is going to interfere with me on my road to success the least. That's who I vote for. See you next week.